It is almost May, and I'm like, where did the time go? Did I even read my books in April? I don't know. Maybe not. But today we're talking about what I plan to read in the month of May, and I'm pretty excited because most of these books are really focusing on finishing series or continuing on with series, which we all know is something that I am terrible at. I am the worst about like starting a series and then not finishing it, and I'm like, I just want to get it done, right? I just want to finish some series, and that's kind of what a lot of the books in this TBR are focused on, as well as some buddy read picks and my Patreon pick. So hopefully this will be fun, and hopefully I will actually get to all my books this month, because I have a bad habit of going NetGalley crazy, and because of that I end up like throwing out my TBR because I have NetGalley books I need to get to, and I do still have some NetGalley books I want to get to. So those I will not include in my TBR because they're kind of like, I want to get to them, I might get to them, hopefully get to them. So let's start talking about the books that I'm tentatively going to be reading in May. First, I'm going to start out with the Patreon Book Club book pick. And I just put up the poll, but so far the book that is winning is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And I'm so excited. I hope this continues winning, because if it continues winning, then this is the one I'm going to read. And I actually just picked this up from Thrift Books, so I'm super extra excited. I got this like cool hardback, and I loved The Starless Sea. So I'm really excited to read Erin Morgenstern's other book. I don't know much about it other than fantasy, standalone romance, beautiful writing that Erin Morgenstern is known for, and a circus. So that's kind of all I need to know, because I love me a circus. I love some fantasy. I really like romance when it's done well, and I loved The Starless Sea, so I'm hoping I love this too. If you want to read this with me, then go ahead and join my Patreon. I've got everything down below for you. It's a good time. We're really chill, and yeah, it'll be a fun one. The next one that I want to try to get to is Queen of the Unwanted. This is the second book in the Women's War trilogy. The third book, Mother of All, is actually coming out later this year, and I have a arc for it, and I really need to read book 2 so I can read my arc of book 3. I'm excited. I really liked the first book. I know a lot of people have a lot of mixed opinions on that first book. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really different from everything else we see. We are following an older female protagonist with 2 pretty grown kids, like 18 and 13. And she is like this princess who's been like kind of, kicked out because the dad divorced. Like the king was her dad, he divorced her mom. And it's like a whole thing. It's a very, very patriarchal society. It's a very dark book. There's a lot of like sexual assault and abuse, and it's just really not pretty. And it's about the women of this world kind of rising up and finding their voice. And I really enjoyed it. It's not an easy to stomach read in some places, but again, I just really enjoyed it. And I love that we follow older characters for the most part as well. So I'm excited to see what happens in book 2 after really liking book 1. And that ending was like, oh my god, I need to know more. So now I'm excited to read the second one. I'm also going to try to finish off Arc of the Scythe by reading The Toll this month. This is the last book in the Arc of the Scythe by Neil Schusterman, and I am really excited. I want to finish off this series. I loved Scythe. I loved Thunderhead. And I've heard a lot of mixed things about this book, but I'm excited to just finish it off. If you don't know, we're following Rowan and Citra, who are like teenagers in this very utopian world where death no longer exists, and everything is kind of run by this mass AI called the Thunderhead, which is what like the cloud evolved into. And since there is no more death, there's overpopulation, and in order to keep that under control, we have what are called scythes, and scythes go around gleaning people or killing them, and they are the only people that can permanently kill somebody. And we're kind of following their journey as apprentice scythes, and we're kind of getting that look into that world, that utopia. And is this utopia really utopian, or is it more dystopian? So I really like it. I'm excited to see how it ends after the events of Thunderhead, because that was a holy crap ending. I am also going to try to get to Lady Smoke this month, and this is the second book in the Ash Princess trilogy. I own all 3 books. I really, really loved the first one. I thought it was a really well done YA fantasy. We are following our main character, and I'm pretty sure her name is Theodosia. I was wrong. So Theo. And she is a princess who was, like, her palace was taken over when she was a young child. They were invaded and her whole family was murdered in front of her. She was the only one that was kind of like kept alive. And she was kept alive by these new rulers in order to keep the people in line. So like if they mess up or try to rebel or whatever, they're going to publicly punish their princess. So that kind of keeps her in line. They use her in like these displays where she is the Ash Princess, and it's really good. It is about her finding that strength to rebel, and I really love it. There is a love triangle, which I don't love, but I think it's done all right. I don't hate it. I know which one I want her to end up with, so I'm gonna be real sad if in the last book she doesn't end up with the guy that I want her to, but we'll see. But it's just really good, and I love it. And there's a friend in book 1 that I really liked, and she reminded me a lot of, I think her name is Charlotte from Princess and the Frog. Like the princess that always wants to be a princess and marry the princess. She reminded me of that, only like to the nth degree, and I enjoyed the heck out of that character. So I'm excited to see her character development and everything else that happens after the end of book 1, because whoa, that ending, that was an ending. And when I love when it's like an ending that like makes me want to read more, and that's what this did. So I'm excited to get through this. Hopefully it'll be quick, because usually I can read YA a lot quicker, so hopefully. So many books. I'm also going to attempt to get to this book, and this is Reckoning of a Fallen God by R.A. Salvatore, the second book in the Coven series. I read the first book, Child of a Mad God, last year. Absolutely loved it. It was the first R.A. Salvatore book that I've ever read, and I was hooked. I really liked his writing. This is a very grimdark book as well. It is violent and brutal and patriarchal, and I just really liked it. Like, I don't know. We're following the main girl, Aelin, and she was raised in this like really patriarchal society up at the top of this mountain, and the women are basically like wives and breeders unless they end up becoming these witches, in which they're still like super powerful, but they're still basically like wives and breeders. They're still like second class. And so the warriors of this, the men warriors, go down to the villages surrounding this mountain, and they like pillage and they bring back slaves. And it's really, really dark and gritty. And we follow Aelin, who is like a girl growing up in the mountain. And then we also follow a boy who is taken before he's even born. His mom is taken while she's pregnant. She gives birth as a slave up in the mountains, and we kind of follow his journey as well. And then we follow like a trapper kind of guy as well. So we follow 3 different perspectives, and they all kind of come together at the end. I absolutely loved book 1. I loved it so much, right? I'm really, really excited to get to book 2. I'm nervous because I know Books with Brittany really liked book 1. And then she DNF'd book 2, so I'm a little scared, but I'm excited to see where it goes, because I've heard that it changes paths pretty quickly. Like, we do like a big shift in tone, so I'm excited to see. I'm also going to be reading The 10,000 Doors of January. This is my like read-along book pick for my Discord, so if you want to join us with this, just join the Discord. It's down below. Pick up 10,000 Doors of January, and let's have a good time. I don't know too terribly much about this, but it sounds super good. I have heard it really compared to, like, if you like The Starless Sea, you'll like it, and I'm down for it. It's also a fantasy standalone, which we don't get very often, so I'm loving some standalones because I don't want to contribute to adding more to my series pile, which I'm still continuing to do, but like the less that I can add to my series I need to finish, probably the better. So this will just be one off my list, and I'm excited. We'll be discussing it in my Discord, so go and join us down below if you want to read this. And then I'll probably do a live show at the end of the month to talk about it with you guys. And the final book is actually really strange because I don't know if I'm gonna like this book. I don't know if I'm gonna finish this book, but I want to read this book to know if I like it, if that makes sense. And that is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I have had this series on my shelf for so long. I have all 3 of them. I have a signed edition of book 3 that I got like way back in the day. I've never read them. I managed to pick up like the signed one on Book Outlet, and I didn't know it was signed. So like it wasn't like I searched out a signed copy or anything. Like I got them all super cheap, but I don't know if I'm even gonna like this because of the writing, because of just the story itself and the footnotes, and I'm just not sure. So what I want to do is I want to try reading at least a couple chapters, you know, get 100 pages in, something along those lines, and really see if this is a story for me or if I just want to unhaul all 3 books because I need more room on my shelves, and if I love it, then I'll keep reading it, and if I don't, then I'm gonna unhaul it because I'm just not sure. There's something about this series that I'm not sure about, so I just want to test the waters, see what I think, and then maybe get rid of it. All right, so that is my pretty ambitious TBR for the month of May. As you can see, a lot of the books are continuations in series I already love, so I'm excited about that. We got 2 fantasy standalones, so love that for me. And then one that I'm like, I might read this, like I might not finish it, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see if I decide to unhaul Nevernight this month or not, because I'm really tired of stuff taking up room on my shelf that I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. Like, why do I still have it? Let's get rid of it. Let's try it and get rid of it if I don't love it. So that is what that is for. All right, well, if you want to join in on any of the buddy reads, information is down below. My name is Jessie, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.